Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel, Jurassic Collector here. And today I have a really exciting video for you guys. I know I say that quite a lot, but I really do have something I'm really excited for. As you can see in front of me, I have the brand new Mattel Jurassic World Dominion, Dr. Alan Grant and Dimetrodon story pack. So with these story packs, we normally get a human figure, an accessory, and then a dinosaur. But in this case, we have a Dimetrodon, so it's not a dinosaur, but it's still awesome. I'm really excited for this set. I absolutely loved this scene in Jurassic World Dominion. I won't spoil too much if you haven't seen Dominion yet, but the scene in the movie with Dr. Alan Grant and Dimetrodon was so good. I absolutely loved it. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, so I'm so happy Mattel decided to make a set just based around that, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I did get this set off of Big Bad Toy Store and it was $17. And unfortunately these story packs are not released in Ireland. They never have been, and they still haven't been for Dominion, unfortunately, which is a shame. So I did have to import this from the US, but thankfully it didn't actually cost much from Big Bad Toy Store. With shipping and everything, it worked out to like €23.50. So that was actually pretty affordable and pretty reasonable price for these. So if you are international and you do want this set for yourself and your country doesn't have it, I will have a link down below for this set on Big Bad Toy Store. It came in absolute mint condition too. So that's enough talking. Let's just dive straight in and take a closer look at the packaging. So down here in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Jurassic World Dominion logo. We come across and we see Dr. Alan Grant and Dimetrodon. Then we come over here, we see the Mattel logo. When we come up, we can see that beautiful amber aesthetic and then that dark kind of bluey nighttime sky that we're used to seeing on all the Dominion packaging now. We come across, we see the Jurassic Facts app compatibility, and then we have that beautiful render of Rexy here in the corner. On this end, we have the Pyroraptor and a small Jurassic World Dominion emblem. And on this end, we have that Jurassic World Dominion emblem again with the T-Rex in the amber. Here's the back of the packaging, so there's nothing too crazy. We see the Dominion logo again, the Jurassic Facts app compatibility. We can see the Dimetrodon there and Dr. Alan Grant. Down here we have the Kayla Watts and Pyroraptor set, which I have pre-ordered on Big Bad Toy Store, but that won't be here for a while, I'm guessing. And then down here we have the Mattel logo and then some legal information. So that is it for the packaging on this figure. I'm so excited to take it out and get a closer look and get these figures in my hands. We finally have a new Dr. Grant figure, which just is incredible to me. So without any further ado, let's just dive straight in, get these figures out of the packaging and take a closer look. Okay, and here we have Dr. Alan Grant, the skull and the Dimetrodon out of the packaging. So I have Grant holding the little skull there. It's quite heavy, so I mean he keeps wanting to kind of tip over, but I have him standing here for a minute, and of course the Dimetrodon here beside him. So first up, let's just take a look at this little skull accessory. So here's the skull. It's nothing too crazy, it's just molded in this kind of creamy color, a bone color, you know, and it looks cool for what it's trying to get across, that color. And it does have that speckling in there that the Mattel figures generally have, and I think that makes it look a little bit more realistic and bone-like. But I'm not sure what dinosaur this is supposed to be. I don't think it's trying to even be a Dimetrodon. I'm not sure what it's trying to be. It kind of looks like a little bit of like a raptor. I would have preferred if we didn't actually get this. I think it would have been cooler if we got like the lantern that kind of Grant is holding in the amber mines, which this scene is based around. You know, I think that would have been cooler, a cooler accessory with like a little flame on the end that could have been like molded in like an orange clear plastic. I think that could have been really cool. But yeah, the mouth just closes like that and opens, and for what it is, it's I guess a cool just little pack in there to add to your set. And then next up we have Dr. Grant himself here. As you can see, it's so awesome to have a Dominion figure for Dr. Grant, an older version of Grant, just like we see in the movie. This figure looks pretty spot on, honestly, to Dr. Grant's appearance in Jurassic World Dominion. The clothes, the outfit, even this little hat there, which is great. So my first impressions with this figure, I'm actually really impressed. I really like it. It looks just like Grant in the movie. So let's take a closer look at the sculpt. We can see the face there is pretty good. It doesn't look exactly like Sam Neill in the movie, of course, but it's not bad. It gets the point across. It looks like Dr. Grant. He has his kind of white beard there, his lips, the eyes, even some eyebrows there. The hat itself is pretty cool on there. There's no paint detail or anything for like the strap around it, but That's only kind of some detail we'd see in Hammond collection. The folds of the jackets here have the paint, darker brown paint on them, which is really nice. I really like that attention to detail, and that runs around the back there as well. You can see he has his brown jacket on, and then inside you can see he has his blue shirt, which is kind of a callback there to Jurassic Park, which is awesome. But this brown jacket does kind of make it different, and you know, it's a different appearance to what we see in Jurassic Park, but it just has a little homage with that blue shirt in there, and that looks great. And so does this jacket. Honestly, the jacket looks great. The only thing I don't like about the jacket is that the sides here, you can kind of, the gaps for the opening of the arms for that articulation, they made them too big, I think, and there's too much tolerance, and you can actually see inside the blue shirt there, which is a little bit disappointing. If you look at it from the side, you can see that. It does throw the figure off a little bit, but I'm not going to criticize that too much. I'm just so happy we have a new Dr. Grant figure. Then we have the belt there. You can see the belt has a nice painted silver belt buckle in metallic silver paint, which looks great. We don't always get that with Mattel for their human figures. It's just hit or miss. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And I'm really happy that they gave Dr. Grant. It's just that little detail makes it look a little bit more realistic. The belt itself is painted then as well there. It's like a darker brown, as you can see, kind of similar to the brown we have up here on these flaps on his jacket there. And then when we come down to the trousers, there's a really great sculpting detail in the trousers there. They really look like they're, you know, loose, and there's creases in the material, which is great. That sculpting detail looks awesome. And then the trousers themselves are a kind of like a dark grey color there, and then he does have boots sculpted, and they are painted a nice brown color. So lots of brown used on this figure, but all the different shades blend together beautifully, and it looks great. It really does. I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. From the back there as well, you can see it looks great. There's a lot of detail even sculpted into the jacket here. When you catch in the lighting there, you can see there's kind of folds and creases in the material, which just make it look a little bit more realistic and pop a little bit better with that detail. So that's great. So for articulation on this figure, it's just like the articulation we see on all of the other adult Mattel Jurassic World human figures. So we have a head joint there, so that can rotate and spin around just like that. And there's also a slight amount of upward and downward pivoting there. You can kind of see that. If I turn to the side, you can kind of see that pivot there, which is awesome. And we have shoulder articulation, of course, so the arms can move out like that, up and down, and they can rotate 360 degrees. Both arms, of course, can do this and go out like that as well. Then there's also some elbow articulation there, which I really love. The elbow articulation, it really just makes the figures, you know, you're able to do a little bit more with them just because the arms can bend at the elbows there, which is great. There is waist articulation on this figure too, so you can see that waist can rotate completely 360 degrees. We of course have leg articulation, so the legs can move out, so he can do the splits just like that. They also move, of course, forward and backward. That's as far back as they'll go there. And both legs do that same movement, of course, but obviously they can be moved independent of each other. And then as well, we of course do have some knee articulation there, which really help bring the figures to life more. So as you can see there, you can kind of get some great running poses, for example. And of course, both of those knees can bend too. So yeah, a lot of great articulation on this figure. So like I said, this articulation is the same as all of the other Mattel Jurassic World adult human figures. So we get 9 points of articulation, which is perfectly adequate in my opinion. I mean, it's not Hammond collection level of articulation, but for what it is in mainline, it's great and it works for me. It looks so good. Yeah, really love this Dr. Grant figure. And here we have the Dimetrodon. Now I've been waiting on a Dimetrodon figure by Mattel for so long. They did release one a couple of years back in 2019 for the Dino Rivals line, and it was released in the Savage Strike lineup. But that was a very rare figure. It barely showed up anywhere, and I was never able to get my hands on it, and now it goes for insane money online. So I'm really happy Dimetrodon makes an appearance in Jurassic World Dominion, because Mattel has now made multiple figures for this species, which is great. We have this version, we also have a extreme damage version, and then there is also a ferocious pack version. This one in my opinion is the best looking out of the three. I think it looks like the movie version the most, and it looks the most neutral. You might have a different opinion, but I think it looks just the best out of the three. So let's just take a close look at the sculpt. So you can see the head there, so much fine detail and scales packed in there, and to the lower jaw, all along the body. When we come down here, you can see the legs have a bunch of scaling along it there. We run along the back, some really beautiful scaling down here, really fine scaling. Then up here we kind of have these larger osteoderms that run down the entire length of the figure. Those look so cool. We have a bunch of detail again in this leg, and some nice musculature definition as well in the leg there. Those osteoderms, like I said, and all of that finer scale detailing even runs all the way down to tail, which is really impressive. The whole figure is super scaly. I mean, you run your hands over it, it feels like a real reptile, honestly, because there's so many fine scales sculpted in, which is great. The sail itself there also is really nicely textured, so it's not just kind of flat and plasticky feeling, it has a nice texture to it as well. You can see it almost kind of has like a leathery appearance, honestly is the best way to put it. There's a lot of just fine lines running through it. I think that's really what gives it that really nice texture. And then of course we have these larger ridges kind of running all the way up the sail for the Dimetrodon, and that looks great. There's so much detail packed into that sail there as well, which is awesome. I'm really happy they did that. And this side of the figure is of course the exact same for detail. If we get a closer look there, you can see a bunch of detail just packed into this sculpt. One of the most detailed sculpts by Mattel, definitely, I have to say. It is really impressive for its size. The underneath of the figure is softer on detail. There isn't as much going on there, but it is the underside of the figure, and considering this figure is so low down to the ground anyways, you can't really notice it. There is still some like sculpted detail. When you run your hand along it, you can feel some texture still sculpted in there, which is nice, and there is some sculpted detail underneath the feet too, which is great. And that runs down at the course of the tail too. So yeah, this Dimetrodon has an absolutely fantastic sculpt. There is an insane amount of finer scales packed in, and then also some larger osteoderms. Like I said, they run down the entire course of the figure all the way down the tail. And even the sail itself has a bunch of detail sculpted in, which looks absolutely phenomenal. So they've done a great job with the sculpt of this figure, and it's, in my opinion, vastly improved over the Dino Rival sculpt. This Dimetrodon looks a lot more accurate to what we see in the Jurassic World Dominion movie. So now let's talk about the paint job on this figure. So it's a really great paint job in my opinion. I absolutely love the colors they used here. So we have a nice kind of dark green gray that the entire body is molded in, the head as well there, and all of the legs are molded in that dark green with a kind of like a small hint of gray. It's just a very dark green, and that looks really, really nice for this figure. It's very naturalistic. There is some nice paint detail on the head there. There is kind of some brown patterning running around the eye there, and then the eye itself, it's pretty small there, but you can kind of see the eye itself is a nice kind of, it's like a golden yellow color. It's not metallic or anything, but it has a nice golden kind of color to it, and it has a black slit pupil there, which is nice. That's painted in there. The teeth are really nicely proportionate actually for a Mattel figure. Sometimes with these smaller figures they give them really large kind of cartoony looking teeth, but these have really small proportionate teeth, which is great. And those teeth are painted a nice kind of cream color, which is nice. The mouth has some nice pink paint there for the tongue, the back of the mouth, and also the side flaps there of the mouth. Both sides have that, and there is no paint unfortunately on the roof of the mouth. I would have liked to see some paint there, but unfortunately that's not the case. On this side, unfortunately, the eye is misplaced a little bit, so it looks a little bit goofy, but it's not the end of the world for me. It's still a great looking figure, but I do wish just that quality control was a little bit better there. I mean, looking at it from the front even, it looks super menacing. I mean, look at that thing. That is awesome. The bottom jaw itself is molded in a different color than the entire body, so it's molded in kind of a dark cream color, and or a beige color even, but it just gives it a bit of differentiation. And maybe if there was a little bit of paint underneath there to kind of blend it, it would have been better, definitely, but it still doesn't look bad. I do like that. It kind of adds just a little bit of differentiation to the rest of the face and the entire body itself. And then when we get back down to the sail here, the sail it's molded in this kind of bright orange color, which looks really, really nice. I absolutely love that. And also the top part here of the sail is molded on the actual head part there when it's articulated, but that is painted with that orange too, which is great. I'm happy they didn't skip the paint for that, so it does blend in to the rest of the sail there. And then we have some really nice, quite intricate actually patterning going on there. So we have some nice black paint applied to the figure as well there for the sail, and that patterning is the best on any Jurassic World Dominion Dimetrodon in my opinion. It looks closest to the movie, and it has just some intricate kind of patterning details to it there, some really smaller kind of dots and then some larger lines running along it, and then along the actual ridges there's black paint all applied along there, and along the actual base of the sail too onto the body there's a small amount of that black paint running onto the body. Not much, just a very, very small amount, just kind of at the edge there of the figure itself before before the sale starts. I would like to maybe see a little bit more of that black paint kind of down here, but it's not bad. At least there's a little bit on there, and of course if we flip it over, it is the same on this side. We have a little bit of that paint there as well. And then that's it for the paint on this figure. There's no more paint. So of course it's not a bunch of paint on it, but for the paint they did use, it works really, really well. And it serves its purpose and it looks so good. I absolutely love the paint job on this figure. I have to say, it looks the best, like I said, in my opinion, out of all of the Dominion Dimetrodons. It looks the closest one to the movie. And yeah, I'm just really, really impressed with the look of this figure. And the paint job, it works really, really well. I do of course want to mention the Jurassic Facts app scan code is on this figure here too, so it is built into the sale there, so you can scan that in your Jurassic Facts app there like that, and on the back it of course has the T-Rex logo stamped in there, and that just pushes down and it blends in with the sale. So I actually don't mind that DNA scan code on this figure. On some of the Mattel figures it absolutely can ruin the sculpt, but thankfully for this one they've cleverly hidden it in the sale, so it just pulls out there, you wouldn't even know it's there, and you're able to scan it into your Facts app and then push it down and it's gone. So it blends in really nicely. So now for articulation, so we've got a ball joint in the head, so the head can move down like so that far and up that far. It can't move up anymore, at least in this position, because of that sale there. It's molded in there like I said. But the only thing is when you do like move it out like downward from the sail, it looks really weird because the sail is just completely like broken off then, and there's just a big gap. So I probably won't be posing it like that. I'll probably keep it like this so it looks flush with the rest of the sail there. But you can rotate it side to side there as well if you want to. So that is nice that you do kind of have that option there. Of course the bottom jaw of the mouth can close like so and open up there too, so some nice articulation there. For the legs, they can rotate backwards and forwards, both legs of course there, and the back legs are the same, they can rotate too, but there's no point really rotating these legs too much because the way they're sculpted in like a very much so kind of like just downward position, and they're kind of sculpted together there, so the foot is just all in one pose there, so that you're not going to really pose this figure in any crazy ways. It's just going to kind of be in the one position, but I don't mind it for a Dimetrodon. It works absolutely fine for me. And then we have one more point here in the tail, so that can just rotate. So overall this figure has a total of 7 points of articulation, which is pretty standard for one of these attack pack style figures or ferocious pack style figures. And now it's time for some comparisons. So first up, I just wanted to compare the new Jurassic World Dominion Dr. Grant figure to the older Legacy Collection Dr. Grant figure from Jurassic Park. So of course this is Dr. Grant from the 1993 Jurassic Park movie, so of course it is inspired by his Jurassic Park appearance. So we've young Grant and older Grant, and it's awesome to have these two figures. They look incredible. Look at the both of them. They both of course have the iconic hat that Grant wears in both movies, and I mean, yeah, the outfits are different enough, but also you have that blue there, which this blue is kind of more accurate to the actual shirt Grant wore in Jurassic Park. This version had a little bit too light of a blue shirt. It should be darker, but of course this is Grant's most iconic look. It is his Jurassic Park appearance, and that will forever be his iconic look. But the new Dominion version, I really like the costume Grant has, and of course it is the costume from the movie, so I really love the costume that they gave him in the movie. It works well. It has that Grant feel, that Alan Grant feel that we know and love. So I'm really happy with how the new Dominion Alan Grant figure turned out. And here you can see a Troceraptor tiger with the Dimetrodon. So this is again in the ferocious pack kind of size scale, just like this Dimetrodon is. And if I put the Troceraptor tiger in front of that there, you can see of course the Dimetrodon sail does go up more so than the Troceraptor's body does. But they look really cool. Both of them have the orange kind of color there to complement each other. I just wanted to show you what an Atroceraptor size looks like next to this Dimetrodon. These figures are definitely play compatible. And then here is the new Dimetrodon figure with the sound slashing Therizinosaurus. As you could see, of course, the Therizinosaurus is absolutely towering over the Dimetrodon, as it should. But these look so cool. Some absolutely beautiful species additions to the Jurassic canon, and I'm really happy both of these species were introduced in Dominion. I did make a video a couple of years back now of the top 10 dinosaurs I would like to see in Jurassic World Dominion, and both the Therizinosaurus and the Dimetrodon were on that list. So if you want to go check that video out, there will be a link down below for that for you guys to check out. It was a couple of years ago now, but I did want to see both these species in Jurassic World Dominion, and here they are. They were in it. I was right, and I couldn't be happier. And I really love how both of these Mattel figures turned out. So yeah, these look absolutely awesome together. And here is our Dimetrodon with the Strike and Roar Giganotosaurus figure. Now, I did just review this Giganotosaurus figure on the channel about a week or two back, and you can click the card up here to check that video out. You can see, I mean, again, 2 new species to the Jurassic canon, Giganotosaurus and Dimetrodon. And again, these two look really cool together. They both kind of have that darker kind of green gray color to them. And they work well together. Of course, they're not in the movie together, but these look really cool, and they will look great on the shelf together as, you know, all of the Dominion species roster. They look so cool together. This Dimetrodon just fits in really with any figure in the Jurassic line. And then here we have Dimetrodon with a T-Rex. Of course, we have to do a obligatory T-Rex comparison. I mean, T-Rex, you know, Rexy is just so iconic to the franchise. So you can see there, of course, Rexy is towering over the Dimetrodon there. So yeah, these again look great together. So that is it for today's review, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I absolutely love this set. I 100% recommend it. We get an absolutely beautiful Dimetrodon figure that looks just like the Jurassic World Dominion counterpart in the movie. Paint job is absolutely beautiful. It has a really nice intricate kind of patterning detail on the sail there. We got a little just kind of like a pack-in accessory that isn't really, you know, a huge part to the story or anything. It's just kind of there as an accessory. Again, I would have loved to see Grant's kind of, he's holding like a torch that's, you know, has a flame on it. I think that would have been a really cool accessory instead of this, but you know, I'll take this. There was some bones in the Ember Mine, so that works for me. And then we also get an iconic character from the franchise, Dr. Alan Grant, of course, in his older appearance in Dominion and his new costume and everything, and he looks absolutely great. So I really do love this set. There's really, it's just perfect. It's the great story pack, and for the price, it's actually a really great affordable price, and it's a great way to get a Dimetrodon and an iconic figure from the Jurassic franchise too. So you guys should definitely pick this up if you want any Dimetrodon or Grant figure. It's 100% worth it, and I'm so happy I was able to get it from Big Bad Toy Store for $23.50. So again, it was a great price too. I'm really happy with how this set turned out. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I had an absolute blast. This has been one of my favorite sets I've ever taken a look at here on the channel. Honestly, it's definitely up there. It's an incredible set. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button down below, and also don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, and make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified every time I upload a brand new video. I do have some more Wave 2 figure videos coming up for review on the channel, so make sure to stay tuned for those and keep your eyes on this channel, because those will be coming out soon. I'll be taking a look at another Dimetrodon figure, the Ferocious Pack version, and also the Baby in a Suit of Ceratops will be up for review on the channel as well soon, and also the massive looking Outpost Chaos playset. I'm really excited to review that with you guys on the channel, so make sure to stay tuned to the Jurassic Collector channel to check out those videos in the coming days. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out. Rah, rah.